Well, hey everybody, welcome back. It's been about 6 months, I think, since I released a video. Sorry they're getting further and further apart, but as life has continued to return to normal and work schedules and kids' sports and all the things, I don't get to spend as much time out here as I maybe did a few years ago. But there has been a lot of progress, so I'm going to kind of start where we left off last time and kind of walk through and show that. So last video I started over in this area. This is sort of what's above the workbench, which is a giant mess of projects. And last time I'd shown where I'd done some ballast work across the back in the industries. So since then I've come in and done some scenery through here, some static grass, a little bit of detail with some rusty rail. Back here, there is a scratch-built chain link fence back there. It kind of runs along the back of those buildings, along the track there. I've ballasted the entire yard, so that's all done now. That was a job. If I come down here a little bit, sorry if I'm making you sick from moving around, but did some work along these spurs here, more static grass, kind of painted things to kind of blend it all together. Some of this ballast work is probably new. And just some tufts of grass and just overgrown weeds and stuff as you start working your way away from the main ladder. Just base scenery as I go this way. No static grass down here yet. So that's what the yard looks like now. I used intentionally, some different tones of gravel, ballast in the yard. There's some darker, some lighter, some cinders in there as a base. I've got some dirt in there as well. But I'll give the area between the tracks here. Sorry, I bumped the camera there. Some of the same treatment that I did here with some of the, the greenery starting to come up between the tracks. Kind of like how that turned out. Just using the stuff on the right is mostly with the static grass applicator, and some of this taller stuff I was pinching grass in where it's taller. So that's kind of what the treatment I want to give to the yard, and obviously it's big. It's going to take some time, and I'm bouncing around to lots of different things to keep the interest up, As I work my way down the yard, I'm actually going to pivot back this way. There's a window AC unit up there. It's July, it's Virginia, and that stopped working. So it's been a little harder to be out here in the summer. So what I've been doing is grabbing small projects and taking them to the kitchen table and working there. And one of those small projects is right here. And that is just that hopper car in the front. That is a Seaboard Airline hopper car. It was given to me by another member of the James River Division of the NMRA. It's a nice Bowser kit. I kind of put it together at the kitchen table, gave it some rudimentary weathering, made this custom load for it out of foam. I've shown this before where I used charcoal. This time I actually used real coal. Kind of ground it up. So that's just a piece of foam carved to look like a load and then painted black. And then I ground up some charcoal with some coarse sand, not charcoal, real coal, bituminous coal, with sandpaper and used matte medium to glue it on. And, for the most part, I'm rubbing the top of it like that. And I put a layer of matte medium over the top, which disappears completely. And, well, there's a little bit of smudge there, so probably need to do another layer of that. But in general, it's not making my hand all that black touching that. So I'll work on that a little bit more, but that was a project. So I've got that just parked on the track over here by the power plant I showed before. I'm gonna zoom back out so I don't be so knocky. I showed most of this last time. Difference now is it's been ballasted all the way over here. So that's about where the progress went last time, was just kind of getting this all connected and the back stuff ballasted. So a little bit of scenery, a little bit of ballast. I go this way, there's some more track work. So I think on the last video I talked about this spur here where those two box cars are parked was going to go directly into the fuel dealer. I've opted to make that the actual beginning of Manchester again, just like it was before. Although this module is new. So this track nearest us is the Manchester branch coming off, and that's the main in the back. And kind of did a little bit more rudimentary scenery stuff, just kind of messing around with how this road might work and cut this hill back some more. I have to blend all that in. Did a little bit more work on this module since the last time. Got the dirt glued in. I don't think the fence was there before. Maybe it was coming down the hill, but all that dirt is glued down. That's new. And I'll probably take this into the kitchen table, and work on that for a while. I've got an HVAC guy coming this week to kind of look at options, but I don't know how long it'll be before I get AC out here. It's real early in the morning, so it's bearable, but I'm telling you, Virginia in July, this isn't, I can't be out here. It's hot, it's humid. And I know that's not good for the layout either, so we're gonna get that fixed. So anyway, follow the branch off to the right. See a little bit of in progress stuff. Right here, that's my first scratch built turnout. I've never done that before, but I made a little curved turnout here. I've run some cars over it with my fingers. It works fine. I tested electrically, make sure things were isolated the way they're supposed to and continuous where they're supposed to be. And seems to be electrically okay, but as you can see, I haven't put all the feeders in yet. So this is not operational yet. Then I've got some track work here. Those are in, feeders are in, but I haven't connected them to the bus yet. So what this will be, if you follow this route here, on the diverging route, that's going to be, and then on either of these, there's going to be a passing siding right here. This is the branch coming in. It'll come down here and connect right there to the old module. This track is going to come off here where the line's drawn. I've already got a kit in mind here. It's a nice Monster Model Works kit. I'll probably make this area a team track, kind of messing around with that. The area that this is supposed to represent is Manchester, which is South Richmond, and at the time was full of tobacco warehouses and some light manufacturing. So I think this back track coming off the curved turnout, that's going to be a spur that kind of runs along parallel to the backdrop. That track's not where it's going to be, but in that general area running along the back there, I think I'm going to make that some nice warehouse buildings to represent the tobacco warehouses. So that'll be a spur. This is the passing siding. And then this will be the spur that then comes off here and goes into the fuel dealer. And it'll stub right there. That way I'm not dealing with the fuel dealer and fouling the main at the same time. And it just seemed to work a little bit better. I've also got the main I talked about last video. It's going to come back here and there's staging back there. So I'll walk around the other side and show you what's back there so far. All right, so this is the other side. The rear track here is the main coming around. And so I've started to put the kind of play around with how this ladder is going to work. But I'll have 7 or 8 tracks over here for staging. So where you see the tacks, those are glued down. The other stuff is just loosely here as I'm trying to see what'll fit and how it'll work. I may make a few more curved turnouts to put here, but the radius on the fixture I have is a little tight, so it might not work. So kind of messing around, but the idea here is this would be north end staging. It's all across the back of Manchester there. So this whole space will be staging. So if I'm looking at the original plan, remember I wasn't able to, this didn't work because of the refrigerator situation. So this is all stubbed in right here. But this is where we are, kind of back here, that staging. So got a little bit more to go. So I'm gonna go back to where I started the video and walk the other way. All right, so back where we started, we went right, which is layout north. Now let's go left, which is layout south. So the track closest to us is the yard lead, and the rear track is the main coming around. You've seen all of this before, none of this is new, just orienting. All right, so now we got some new track in. So this turnout right here is going to be what goes to the Deepwater terminal. And so that'll be the main industries on this peninsula will be part of that. So this is the main. I talked about the diverging track being the branch line for the terminal. This is the main coming around. This is all new. Way back, I talked about how that turn back there is super elevated. I super elevated this turn right here too. Same way. Put in some, you can see the styrene under the track. So that's got some super elevation to it. Comes off the end. I had to doctor the peninsula up a little bit to make room for a Helix. Yeah, we built a Helix. So the main comes on here. This will all be open scenery. Coming down, the grade starting here. It's about a 2% grade down, 31-inch radius, 4.5 turn Helix. So this is all gonna be exposed. And then somewhere in this area where I'm now on the end of the peninsula will disappear into woods and duck below the benchwork. The backdrop will come all the way across and separate a scene over here from the scene over there. And the main, at that point, is in staging, essentially. So the Deepwater terminal is gonna come off, and this area, this negative space here, is gonna be a quarry. It'll pass through the backdrop, and the terminal and the riverfront stuff will be on that side of it. That benchwork isn't built, but that is all I have left of benchwork. So the main comes down the Helix. It's all wired up, it's been tested, runs great. I ran with a single locomotive, I've run a 12-car train and a caboose up the hill with no problems. And then this is now, I've got this all in, not all, but I've got the ladder all the way in one track. That is south staging. So that would represent Hialeah, North Carolina, point south. That'll be an 8-track staging yard down here on the lower level. Above it, with some similar geometry to what you see here, with it kind of pinching down at an angle, will be the riverfront. The line will kind of go, like as it's coming through here, will come out and curve back towards the backdrop and go to the end and stub. And so the terminals will actually be coming off towards the aisle with the river kind of on the edge of the benchwork. You'd be like you're standing in the river and look at the edges of the piers coming towards you. So that'll be kind of cool. But that'll be, who knows when. I'll get to that. But at this point, with this track in, and as soon as I put one track in the north end staging, I can actually run a train all the way through the main, through the yard, start messing around JMRI, and doing a little bit of operation. So that's where we are. The Helix itself, if you see that, I built that out of trapezoids, and that probably is worthy of its own video to kind of get into how that was built. But I just wanted to show it. And I'm still here, still working on stuff as I can. That was a pretty big project this spring with the help of one of my friends. So that's where we're at. Looking around, waiting for my HVAC guy so I can be out here more comfortably. So I think I'm going to abandon the window unit and either try to tie into the main AC of the house and run a new duct or two out here, or go with a split unit. Either of those solutions would give me heat as well, which is nice. It's hot in the summer in Virginia, it's cold in the winter. So we get the 4 seasons, no doubt. So yeah, that's where we are. I'll leave it with a shot of the Helix here. Hope everybody's doing well, and we'll catch you on the next video. Thank you.